All right, Mike, I assume you want to do immigration now, huh?
I do, yes.
Based. Okay, let's go. Hit me with whatever you got. Your side of the story here. Your claim.
Yeah, well, do you think that the Joe Biden had a bad border or good border?
Well, how would you define good or bad border?
Like security. Do you think it was a good security or was it not good security? Poor security.
Ultimately, it was the. I would say it was okay. It's the same. Like he had the same. If you look at like actual policy, like what they did, how they behaved, like Obama and Biden were like pretty damn similar on border policy. The difference is the reason like Biden gets so much shit, and I will say like the reason like there was a big clusterfuck on the border is because the U.S. recovered so well comparatively to every other country from COVID for economically. Every other, mostly, every other country got kind of economically fucking obliterated from COVID, but we did a pretty damn good job recovering in pretty much all manners. And so during that time, the amount of people that just wanted to come here and tried to and was like, coming to the border, fucking exploded compared to Obama and Trump before Biden. So in terms of like the behavior and like the security measures and like what they did in the border is very similar. It's kind of very similar all the way down. Biden and but even Trump between like Trump term one and Biden and Obama, they kind of all did similar shit. So when you say it's a bad border, I mean like I think it's average. Whatever you here, I'll put it like this, right? Whatever you say about the security measures of the Biden border, you'd have to say the same of the security measures of the Trump and Obama borders. Trump won. Different now.
Yeah, it is different now, but at the same time, we had the most crossings ever under him.
Yeah,
So,
well, but did you remember that part where I said like the reason, like the security is all the same, but the reason, like if you have 10x the amount of people showing up, it's a whole different world out there.
right, wouldn't you agree that that's one of the main reasons why the Dems lost the election was for that reason, because of border security?
Yeah, big reason. I'd say the border and the economy probably did it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I wasn't, like I said, I'm center right, but I thought the economy wasn't that bad in Biden. But
Well,
the main,
by the end, but like people, the problem is people don't know how to parse out in their heads the cumulative effects of inflation. That's a really hard ask of people, like the average person, to say like, listen, like inflation is like coming down. Like we can look at our inflation statistics. There, it's dropping and dropping and dropping and dropping and dropping every like every quarter coming down. But the problem is people can't really perceive that. It's a hard thing to even ask for people to perceive that. Um,
right, yeah, I agree
yeah.
that Trump shouldn't be taking credit for it now because it was going down when he came in, so he shouldn't be taking credit for it. I agree with you there.
Yeah.
Um, but at the same time, the border was just the main reason why I lost, and they didn't seem to care. You know what I mean? I just think the main reason why I wasn't agree with it is because I'm a roofer and I work with an immigrant. It took him 7 years to get citizenship here. And he was complaining himself, he's from Latin America, that it's not fair to him that he had to wait 7 years and they just come anytime they want to. And they're working. That was the whole thing. And it was just, like I said, you factor in the crossings and the crime and what have you. But I mean, it just wasn't very secure. And you look at how secure it is right now, how much they've dropped numbers. One being because maybe they're scared to come here now because Trump's there or whatever reason it is, but it's just all around better. You know what I mean?
Um, if you take better to mean just less people coming, then yeah, I mean, there's way less people coming. But then I don't that feels like, well, not feels it. That's very first order thinking. Like I criticize people that come up to talk to me a lot for doing this, of just like all you look at is the number, but you have no care in the world about why that number is what it is. Like, generally speaking, I can see a number and be like, okay, I mean, that's, that tells me something, but it doesn't tell me what I really want to know. I want to know why and I want to know what's going on in the background. What's making this happen? And for Trump, in terms of Biden's encounters at the border being so high, there's two big ass reasons for it. A, just again, America compared to every other nation, America was doing so well recovering from COVID that everyone was like, I got to go to America, man. They're doing big, they're doing quite well right now, and my country's falling apart. And then secondly, because in response, again, because those numbers are so high of encounters, when encounters get that high like that, you have to do something drastic at the border in terms of how, what methods you're using to either turn people away or deport people. You have to do something big because the normal processes just can't handle that. You know what I mean? Like if if there's like 1.5 million people a year or whatever, I mean, I can just look. I actually don't remember what his numbers were. What 2021 2 mil, 2022 2.7 mil, 2023 3.2 mil. And these are encounters at the border, people that showed up to the border, right? When the numbers are that high, you have to do something drastic. Our normal processes they were never designed to handle that kind of numbers. So what Biden did was he started using Title 42 immigration authorities to deal with it. Which under Title 42, you don't have to fucking people like the funny thing about like people complain a lot of the comparisons I hear when I talk about Trump violating due process when it comes to some of the deportations he's done, right? And people always obfuscate to Obama. Sorry, people are like, well, what about Obama? He he did the same thing. That is just simply not true. That's just not true. Obama used a lot of expedited removals, which have a due process mechanism kind of built into them. So SCOTUS has ruled on this, like they're not violative of due process, right? But if you think expedited removals don't have a lot of due process, my fucking God, Title 42 deportations have zero, literally none. Under Title 42 authorities, someone could show up at the border and be like, I would like to enter, or like I would like to claim asylum, and you could just be like, no, and that's it. That's the whole thing, right? So he used Title 42 authorities to send a lot of people packing. 1 second, sorry, I need a drink. But there's a huge but at the end of this. The reason, this is just a hit. I'm just like trying to teach something, right? The reason that encounters were so fucked, and the reason the border seemed so bad, and I say seemed, but it was pretty gnarly, right? Is because when you use Title 42 immigration authorities, so when you just turn people away at the border under Title 42, there is no legal repercussions for trying again, like coming back and trying to cross again. Now, when you do like an expedited removal, right? When someone comes to the border and you say, "Hey, we're going to detain you and deport you," like you're not coming in under expedited removal. If they turn around, if they like come back later and try to like re-enter, like you can impose some punishment. You can ban them from the country for like very like large periods of time. Like there's some legal there's some legal punishments that follow. Under Title 42, there's none. And so I mean, so I'm sure you can see where I'm going. That encourages people to try over and over and over and over and over because there is no punishment for there's no punishment for doing so, for trying over and like you could have one guy try to enter the country, come to the border and try to get in like once a fucking day, really, under Title 42 authorities. And so that was like his main deportation mechanism. That was the main law that he was using to send people away. And so you end up in this world where I think his repatriation rate, meaning like the amount of the percentage of people that got turned away at the border and then tried again and again, like, kept on trying, was like at its peak, like 40%. Like 40% of the fuckers that turned up to the border would get turned away and then come back soon after and try again. So it's not necessarily people do this shit. The only reason I'm like dragging this out is because people do what you just did. Come in here and like be like, he's the worst. He's a demon. He caused so many issues. He did. There were issues that got like I criticize his usage of Title 42 authorities because of that reason, because there's no legal repercussions to repatriation, like trying over and over and over and over. Okay, I get it. I do. But to just fucking tweak out and say like, oh, Biden did this, so Trump needs to violate the Constitution to fix it? That's unhinged. Okay, unhinged. It's crazy. It's crazy talk. Last president made a mistake, so the current one needs to fucking throw away our laws, throw away our founding documents, throw away our fucking, like, what makes us us? What?
I mean, they are in the country legally.
And now we're going to get into immigration law. This is where I want to be. Awesome. Tell me, so you just said they are in the country illegally. Tell me how that has anything to do with what I said about violating the Constitution.
Because they can't be they violate the Constitution when they cross.
They did not violate what in the Constitution, or what part of the Constitution has anything to do with crossing the border illegally?
Just that statement. They can't be in here without proper citizenship. Can't work jobs, nothing.
What if Congress were to? So do you agree that our immigration laws are passed by Congress, right?
Right.
What if Congress were to pass a law that said what if Congress were to just repeal all immigration laws in the books? And there was no more immigration law anymore.
Like, what do you mean by that? Like, it's just come as you want then?
Yep. There was no immigrant. So we had no laws governing immigration at all. So there's no authority to There's like, yeah, there's just nothing. There's nothing on the books in regards to immigration. What if they repealed all of it? What would be the case then?
Then
Would
you
that?
wouldn't have a country anymore then.
No, I'm saying in terms of legality. Like if you then walked, if you crossed the the southern border, right? If you just walked into America from Mexico, would you be violating the Constitution?
If they destroy the laws, then no.
Then no. Okay. So inherently, that in and of itself, what you just said. So you just admitted that there is nothing inherently found within the Constitution that has anything to do with immigration, right? There's nothing. So the immigration law is set by Congress. So it's not a constitutional violation to illegally enter the country. It's illegal, like you're violating some statute that Congress has passed for sure. I would agree with that, but it has nothing to do with the Constitution. So you agree on that. So then how does?
Are you just saying that we shouldn't have immigration laws either? Like we just let them all in there? Is that what you're saying?
Why? When did I say that?
No, I'm just saying hypothetically. Do you believe
No.
that we should?
No, that would be not. That's not. No, that would be bad. That would be very bad. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, your perception that someone has broken a law is not an excuse to violate the Constitution, which is the supreme law. The Constitution supersedes the Constitution. So, the Constitution supersedes the laws passed by Congress. So if it were the case that Congress passed a law, but that law was in direct violation of the Constitution somehow, then the Constitution wins out and that law, it gets repealed or gets struck down, right? So because your argument that because someone has entered the country illegally, that is good justification to toss the Constitution. Doesn't, on its face, that argument just doesn't even make sense. It makes no sense. It couldn't possibly, because the Constitution is higher than the laws anyway.
Yeah, but you guys have to understand something. If this is like that in every single country, if we went to China, for say, just an example of the country, we went there to China, we had no citizenship, nothing, and we tried to work a job, we tried to do anything, we would get deported too, because we don't live there.
I agree. And you would get summarily deported, meaning they would just grab you and toss you out, probably, 100%.
Right. So then, what's the difference between that and there and here? That's all the same.
Sure. We have a constitution that grants us rights.
Yes, but there are millions of. Do you know how long the process takes to do one person?
I don't care.
Right, but who pays for that? Taxpayers. Now you care because that's where your tax dollars are going.
I don't actually.
So instead of the
there actually is no dollar amount. There isn't a dollar amount that I wouldn't pay to protect the Constitution. There's nothing I wouldn't pay to protect the Constitution at all.
Right. So you rather use your tax dollars for that than anything else useful in the country.
I don't know if you heard me the last time when I said it, but I said that there's nothing I wouldn't do to protect the Constitution. If that means I got to pay money, I'll do that. If that means I have to die, I'll do that. That means I'll do whatever I have to do.
That doesn't make any sense. I mean, I see what you're saying.
It does make sense. But I once stood in a room and I put my hand in the air and I said I swear to protect the Constitution from all enemies, foreign and domestic, and I meant that shit. I wasn't just fucking saying words for the sake of it. I meant it. Okay, and I still mean it now. If I gotta pay some fucking money, if I gotta die, whatever I gotta do to protect the Constitution, I absolutely will, 100%. So the taxes argument can shove it.
You're a former veteran then?
Yes.
Thank you for your service. But at the same time, man, I just okay. Well, since you're a veteran, we're on the topic then. How do you feel about the parade today for the veterans, for the military?
I'm gonna change the framing here. I'm gonna restructure your framing. You said the parade today is for the military. I'm gonna have to have a hard disagreement with you. I don't think it is for the military. I don't think that's the true motivation.
Why?
Well, why would it be? What's the why would we have a military? Why would we just now be like, oh, you know what we've never fucking done before? A military parade. Let's do that shit.
Well, for one thing,
it's for Trump's ego. It's for Trump's ego. Okay.
Well, for one thing, it is big milestones. It's 250th year.
Why didn't we do it at 200? What about 100? What about 150?
I don't know. I guess it never crossed their mind. But at the same time, other countries do this too. So what's the big deal to appreciate the military? I mean, obviously you're a veteran, but at the same time,
other countries do this. Yeah, Russia does it. North Korea does it. Like, yeah, for sure. I agree with you. Other countries do it.
Well, France does it. They're not a dictatorship. So what about France?
Does France have like military parades on the president's birthday?
It just happened to be his birthday.
Oh, it just so happened. Okay. Oh, okay.
It did. It's a 250. It is.
Okay.
It is. It is.
It just so happened to be his birthday. It's just a fucking big coinky dink, bro. There's nothing there. I should have saved this earlier. There was one of his people kind of fucking admitted. Oh, it was him. I think someone asked him in an interview about like the military parade. Hey, hold on. I'm gonna find this. Hold on. Trump. That argument. Your argument's about to fucking go out the window. Okay. I should have saved this. This is my fault. I don't know why I didn't. This is dumb. I think I found it. Right? Is it? Yep. Okay. Oh no, it was just Fox News. Okay, it was Fox News being fucking stupid. This is what Fox News said about this shit. This is they've actually perfectly encapsulated the what's going on here. Okay, this is a tweet from Fox News. Today is at real Donald Trump's 79th birthday, and he's sharing the spotlight with the U.S. Army's 250th birthday parade. What? I'm sorry. Sharing the spotlight? Sharing the spotlight. He's sharing. So it's about his birthday, and he's sharing the spotlight because it's the military's birthday too. So I'll share the spotlight if it's my birthday party, and also, you know, say like my buddy over here just graduated college, and I say, hey, look, you know, I know it's my birthday, okay, but I'm gonna share the spotlight with my buddy. I'm not. We're not celebrating him. We're still celebrating me, motherfucker. But I'm sharing the spotlight. Fox News gave away the game.
Well, that was a poorly worded article, but the same. So you would say that we shouldn't have this done today? Is that what you're saying?
I think America. There's a really good reason why America has never partaken in the military parade bullshit.
Why?
Well, for a couple of reasons. For one, that's dictatorship. Like it just is. Doing this like what fucking show of force through the streets bullshit of like, you know, we're gonna roll out our military and show everyone what, you know, what we got, show everyone our big bad military. That's dictator shit. For two, that's just, for one, that's not what the fuck our military's for. That's not what we do. Speaking from experience, the whole the whole parading through the streets, being like, you know, look at us. That's not what we do. Okay, we're low key. We do it. We're in the background. We do what needs to be done. Do what needs to happen.
I mean, yeah.
And then doing it on his fucking birthday. Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. Go ahead. Doing it on his birthday, you know, there's just,
yeah,
oh my
you
God.
can have your opinion. And like I said, I respect you for who you are, being a veteran serving our country. But I think it's a good thing. I think we should do it. And going back to what you said, it's not dictatorial because France does it and they're not a dictatorship. So you really can't say that. But at the same time, it's just, I think it's a good thing to display America. Show our military off because we were the best military in the world. We were the most powerful nation in the world. And I think it's nice.
Okay. I just want to point out something here. Okay. So I get that you have respect and at least some form of like respect or admiration or love for the military. Okay. And obviously I fucking do too. Of course. Right. Okay. So I get that position. Totally. Absolutely. The military exists. And the reason I brought up our oath earlier, the military exists to protect the Constitution. I mean, our first day on the job, we say, I swear to protect, to defend the Constitution from all enemies, foreign and domestic. You know, that's what we exist for. That's what I say we. I'll do that shit no more. But that's what the military exists for, right? And so you're good with spending tax dollars to celebrate the military, but not okay with having to spend more tax dollars to uphold the Constitution. But the Constitution is the thing that the military exists to protect. So that just doesn't make sense to me. You're like, okay, yeah, my taxes to celebrate the military, sure, that's fine. My taxes to uphold the Constitution, that's crazy. How does that? You don't see the hypocrisy there?
I mean, I put American lives before anybody else, and I would put an American person before an immigrant anytime. That's my whole stance.
You could say that, and that's not even that. Even saying like, oh, well, I put Americans before, anyone else. That's even that is not contradictory to just saying we should uphold the Constitution, right? Those two things aren't the same. You could say you value Americans more than non-Americans. Like, I mean, you know, you can totally say that, but that doesn't mean we can't also uphold the Constitution. The fuck? Why wouldn't we be able to do that?
Because they broke the Constitution when they came in this country.
They didn't. I thought we had literally already established that.
Well, I believe they did.
I mean, you can believe that, but I walked you, I literally put you on a leash like I was walking my fucking dog and walked you step by step by step through exactly why that's not true, right? You remember that?
Yeah, I do, but I don't see it that way.
Okay. Right.
It's
not about how you see it. Like, we have a system of government and it works a certain way. And the way it works is that the Congress passes laws and then they can also repeal them, right? So if Congress could pass immigration laws that makes it illegal to come into the country like they have, or come into the country without permission, like they have, they could also take those away, and that wouldn't be a violation of the Constitution, right? So if you're not breaking those laws, like for instance, Congress also passed a law that says, I can't fucking kill someone, right? I mean, there is that's true. There is a federal murder statute, right? So they passed a law saying I can't kill someone. But we wouldn't say, if I did, and you were charged with it, you wouldn't say that that's a constitutional violation. You'd say you broke the law.
Yeah, I guess.
Right. Okay. So it's not a constitutional violation, but the Constitution does say that people have to be given due process. So if your argument is because they broke the law, that's my justification for why I'm gonna not give them due process. Or it's not you doing it, but I'm gonna be okay with ICE and Trump and DHS not giving them due process. You're saying that's you saying that I think that the law that is passed by Congress supersedes the Constitution, which is just like this is not an opinion thing. Like I'm not asking you for your, or you wouldn't be giving your opinion there. That is just objectively, factually.
Well,
not
basically,
true.
so you're saying that Trump has broken the law of what he's done, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so if that was the case, then why is he still in office then? Shouldn't he be tried for treason? Shouldn't he be tried for violating the Constitution?
Well, you can't. When you say tried, I assume you mean impeached, correct?
Right.
As I say, you're not going to be able to arrest in charge of sitting president, but impeached. Well, because impeachment is inherently a political process. It is not. Impeachment is not a legal process. It is a political process.
Right. He needs Congress, but Republicans control the Congress. But at the same time, wouldn't Republicans go against that then, even though because he's breaking the law?
Why would that necessarily follow? If he's willing to do it, why would it necessarily follow that they would not also be willing to do it?
Well, I mean, just because you have a party affiliation doesn't mean. I mean, you still will call you're a political, person for not doing the.
I'm not saying it's a political party thing. I'm saying it's a power thing, or it's a control over, he has enough influence with them to stop that from being the case.
So basically, are you on the side of if the Republicans lose control in 26 that he would be impeached? Anything?
If Republicans lose control of the House of Representatives, there will be an impeachment filed probably the next fucking day after the incoming representatives take their seats.
Yes, and do you believe that'd be passed then?
It'll at least articles of impeachment will at least be introduced, and then depending on how big the majority in the House is, it'll probably get through the House pretty fucking easily. Depending on the size of the majority, it'll probably get to the House pretty easily, and then I think in the Senate, that's where you're gonna have issues.
Yeah.
Mainly because currently, I don't think I think as of today or as of now, I still don't think Democrats are projected to take. Obviously, things could change. I mean, midterms are 18 months from now or something. It's plenty of time, or maybe less, 16. I don't know. It's a while from now. There's time for things to change, but I think right now I don't know if I don't think Democrats are projected to take the majority of the Senate, which means you're probably not going to get a conviction. So rip. Right. But in the House, yes. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I just like I said, I think today's a good day to wrap up. I think today's a good day to celebrate the military. You may not agree, and that's fine. You served in the military, and I thank you for your service. But I just think it's a good thing we have these things, and I hope it continues every single year. I mean, you have to admit, probably over 75% of the military supports Trump. Would you agree with that?
I'm sorry. This is my fault. I zoned for a second. What did you say? How much percent of the military you think?
75% at least supports Trump.
I don't know.
Well, when you were in the service, what did your constituents, were they?
Constituents. Like my homies. No, support was not. No, it wasn't. It was definitely not in the 75% range. No.
No. What years were you in there?
It also, hold on, I will caveat. Big caveat. My department, especially towards the end when I was about to get out, was very small. So very small sample size. Okay. All right. What did you ask? I'm so sorry.
What years were you there from?
2019 to earlier in this year.
Earlier in this year? Okay. Yeah, but I do think it's 75%. I mean, were you in the Marines, Army, Navy, Coast Guard? What were you?
Navy.
Navy. Yeah. I don't know. I just think overwhelmingly that the military supports Trump, I would think.
That wasn't my experience. But again, small department. So
Okay, well, since you're in the military,
whatever.
is it true that people are saying that Trump doesn't support the veterans? Is that true? Like he's not
I
giving
mean,
them the.
I would say yes, but also like I would say yes, but I have my own reasons and I have my own definition of support. So just what do you mean by support?
Well, I mean, they're come. I saw where older veterans who served maybe 30 years ago were saying he's not taking care of them in their older years now or stuff. I just didn't know how that.
Um, I mean, yeah, they're like making cuts to the VA. They wanted to fire a fuckload of VA people. Yeah.
Okay,
So like,
well,
yeah, stuff like that's a problem for veterans. Yeah, I mean, like when a bunch of people are when it's all right, but people aren't overly memeing when they say this. Okay, people are not memeing when they. I don't know. I'm sure you've heard this. Everyone's heard this about people bitching about how long it takes to get stuff done with the VA. People aren't memeing. That's true. It takes a fucking fat minute. It sucks. Sometimes it goes. Most of the time it sucks. Okay, and when you're like, oh, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna fire 25% of the people that fucking work in that department. When you do that, yeah, you are just inherently, yeah, you're just fucking everyone that uses those services. Yeah. So I don't think he really supports veterans. He wouldn't do you just wouldn't do shit like that if you did. I don't know.
okay, because like when Trump deployed the 27 or 29 Marines group to the Los Angeles, I mean that would have been pretty bad. I think that the 29, 27 Marines probably would have done some things they shouldn't have, because they're the most hostile group of military we have, right? Isn't that true? That group.
I, I, it just super duper depends on what you mean by hostile. That's way too broad of a generalization.
Like they're in the worst conditions. People say that group is because they're in the desert. I mean, I don't know if you know anything about that, but
No, I just it's too broad of a generalization. Like in terms of like when you say hostile, do you mean like in the sense of like their demeanor, like they have a hostile
like
like?
no, like in like most intense physical training.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, barring spec ops, yeah, sure. Like just as a whole, sure.
Yeah, I don't think that would end well for people in Los Angeles if they were out there on the streets and they actually had to get in action. I don't think it would end well. Because I'm not gonna take anybody's shit. Yeah, how did you feel about the LA riots? Did you think that was representation of America? What they did, the people,
A representation of America.
like their movement? Like, do you think that hurt their movement by blowing up police cars and throwing things at police officers? Don't you think that hurts the movement more than it helps?
Those individual instances are bad optically, but also as a whole, the protests in LA as a whole weren't that. They're like genuinely mostly just chill shit, and then you had a couple pop off incidents of people going fucking psycho, and then that's what gets proliferated media wise and like on social media. So yeah, I mean when people do stuff like that, like I say, like hey, don't you really should not be doing shit like that. Mainly like yeah, you shouldn't be doing it in general because it's like crimes and shit, and I'm pretty anti-crime, but also because the problem is what can happen and what does happen and what we see happening all the fucking time with every single event like this is that you could have 7 straight fucking days of like people just like standing there picketing, just the most peaceful protesting you've ever fucking seen in your whole life. And then on the 8th day, someone comes in and sets a fucking car on fire and nobody gives a fuck about the 7 days prior anymore. So it's like, don't like, yeah. So in terms of individual instances, I'm against it. It's bad. Shouldn't do it. But it needs to be said extremely strongly that is absolutely not indicative of those protests as a whole, and not even close.
Okay. So you think that Gavin Newsom was doing a good job in California?
I mean, I think Gavin Newsom was ultimately like doing fucking nothing. Like, and I don't mean that in like a negative way. I mean like he doesn't need to. When it with the like LA is humongous, and the protests were happening in a very, 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 very small portion of LA, just like a couple blocks, right? LAPD's got that shit on lock, bro. They're good. LAPD can handle that shit. So when you say like, do you think Gavin Newsom's doing a good job? I don't think like, or is currently now he has stuff to do because he has to now this is like blown up to be a big thing, and he has to go to now he's got to go to court and fight Trump over the National Guard deployment. So now he has stuff to do. But when it first started, like, I don't think Gavin Newsom was doing a bad job or a good job because Gavin Newsom didn't need to be doing anything because LAPD had it. They were good. Gavin Newsom could just sit in his desk and do nothing. The cops got it. They're good.
So you don't support the deployment of the National Guard and everything?
Well, I have multiple reasons to not support the National Guard. For one, I absolutely do not support the deployment of the National Guard. For one, because it wasn't necessary. The LAPD had said, like, "Hey, we're good. Like we don't need you. And if we did, we would tell you." They're pretty clear. Like, hey, if we needed help, we'll tell you we do. We got it. We're chilling. We're good. They hadn't even called in like the surrounding sheriff's department yet. They have like a whole procedure for how they do it. If shit gets rowdy, LAPD starts in first. They'll handle what they have to handle. If they get overwhelmed, they'll call in the surrounding sheriff's departments. And then if they get overwhelmed, then they'll reach out to broader Californian law enforcement agencies. And if they get overwhelmed, then they'll call in the National Guard. LAPD still had it handled. Like we were still on level 1 when Trump called in the National Guard. So yeah, with LAPD being like, no, we absolutely.
Well, he called the National Guard because in 2020, Tim Walz denied National Guard. You look what happened in Minnesota. That's why he was going on his side of caution.
I'm sorry. That has nothing to do with what the fuck I just said.
No, I'm just saying he brought them in.
Yeah, you're saying he preemptively did it. So okay, there we go. Boom. I do not support preemptively doing shit that's not necessary. That's gonna like make people like piss people off and increase tensions.
Yeah, but you can't say what's not necessary if we look what happened in Minnesota. When Tim Walz denied National Guard.
I definitely can say it's not necessary because Minnesota and LA are not the fucking same thing. LAPD. I don't know if you're aware of the history of Californian protesting, but if any police department in this entire country is prepared for shit to get out of hand, it's probably the LAPD. Like they've been down this road. Okay, this isn't their first fucking rodeo with protests getting wild. Okay, they got it. They know what's up. So it was preemptive. There was no reason to believe that they needed help. LAPD said they didn't need help. They hadn't even brought in the surrounding sheriff's department. So that's why. So that's a reason. I'm not even fucking done. That's one reason I absolutely do not support the calling in of the National Guard. Secondly, the calling in of the National Guard was statutorily illegal. So I'm doubly against it.
Okay. Well, I don't agree with that, but
what part do you not agree with? What part do you not agree with?
I'm not calling the National Guard for preemptive measures, even though what you said, I get it. But I just think it was necessary.
But every time there's like a little like pop-up protest or something, Trump should call the National Guard in.
Well, he did it because LA's population, of how broad the population is of, 1, immigrants, and 2, just rowdy people in general in California. I'm from California. I know what it's like. They're very rowdy people.
So is that just that's the new like procedure for California? Every time there's every protest that ever goes down in Cali, we just bring the National Guard in every time, preemptively, because they might get out of hand. They might get rowdy because LA's rowdy. Really, that's the standard we're gonna set.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. He did it in Texas too this past week in San Antonio.
Okay, if that's the standard you want to set every time there's a protest in LA, we fucking National Guard it. Great, lovely.
That's what I think.
Okay.
But like I said, I won't take any more of your time. Thank you for your service and appreciate the debate.
All right, have a good one. The calling of the National Guard was still statutorily illegal, by the way.